guys. Welcome to my channel Bangalore Techies. Today we'll be starting with .NET tutorial video series. This series is aiming to cover our audience from beginner to intermediate. The one who might be started with self-learning or the one who is already in the system and working couple of years. So in this series, you will not just only learn how to create small applications or just understand small concepts and the principles, but also after the completion of complete series you'll be able to make a right choice which kind of application you have to develop for a requirement. So when it comes to which kind of application you have to develop, you have to choose the right kind of template. Then only you will be getting a required output in an optimized way. So let's dive in and start the series. Are you ready to unlock the possibilities with C Sharp? Then this is the right series. So you are at the right place. I personally believe with this series, you will be able to increase your productivity by making a right choice. So the initial first few parts of this series, what I will do is I'll be helping beginners and intermediates who already have a little knowledge to explore the different possibilities that is possible in .NET. So why the first few parts plays an important role? Let me unfold that for you. So you can develop any application with your requirement using any kind of templates. So you will be still able to achieve the results, you will be still able to deliver that, but there is a chance you are not delivering a optimized or very result oriented application. So for example, you if the requirement for you is just to read a couple of files and save the data, if you use a web application for that, you can still achieve within the web application. You can write the code to read the files and then save into database. Is it optimal? Is it productive? No. There are separate templates or there are separate choice you have to do. Similarly, there are multiple places where I have also noticed personally. So whenever the database comes, people what they will do is they will create lots of scripts and they will store it in a structured way and they will write their own application to go and read these files and do a database deployment. Is it more effective? No. There are already available proven templates available which .NET is offering for you. So if you use that one, that will help you in lot better way, and your process and productivity will increase rapidly with those. So that's why the first few parts which I am explaining now is very crucial. And so let's start with this presentation. So the basic introduction of C Sharp. A C Sharp is a modern object-oriented programming language developed by Microsoft, as you all know, and .NET is a versatile and powerful framework, supports various application types. So this is the part first which we are trying to cover, that is the part number 2. And once we cover this part number 2, we will be moving backwards to part number 1. So why I am moving in this way? As I said, the one who already has little knowledge, the one who is already in the system as an intermediate, they will be able to more relate this one and they will be able to understand how this particular course helps them. And even if you are starting new, this information having a prior will be a game changer for you once you learn the other concepts of through this series. What I have done is I have tried to list on all the categories which are available in the .NET, and within individual category, what is the most commonly used application templates. So time in time, what we will do is we'll switch to Visual Studio and we'll try to explore this and try to understand more about this. So even before starting, let me switch to Visual Studio. What happens is sometimes this kind of application templates would not be available for you. So if it is not available, how you can enable them and how you can use them. So first let me switch to Visual Studio installer, and this is my installer. So within this, so the particular version of Visual Studio which you are using might be 19, 2022 or 2022 preview. So click on modify under your particular specific choice of use. Click on modify. When you click on modify, you'll get a modifying pop-up. So within this, as you can see, by default, most of the time when you are installing for the first time, you would have selected only a couple of options. So that is basically based on your need. So if you are trying to work on a complete new category, then you might need to come here under workloads and you have to enable them. How you can enable? Just click this checkbox, and as soon you click this checkbox, you can see what is the total space required and what are the things which is getting enabled for you. So again, let me select this one. So as you can see, again, those what are the default comes under this particular category will be listed, and now if you can see, the space got increased. So currently I have enabled most of them which are required for my daily use cases. So if I need to develop anything with respect to C++, then I'll come and select here. And if I don't, it will be not selected. So if you want to uninstall also, you can come and uncheck. It will do the same for you. So currently I'll not install anything. Whatever is required for me on a daily basis use case, it is already installed. Assume certain sometimes what happens, you will be not able to directly get this listed under workloads. Then you have to click on individual components and you have to search for your requirement. That will be listed under here. Again, if you select here, you will get an option to install them, right? So this is how you have to come to Visual Studio Installer and install. If any of the category mentioned in the video series is not available, either you have to come to workload or individual component, select the appropriate one and click on install. So let me switch to Visual Studio now. So as you know where you can create a project, you have to click on file, new, select a project here. And as you can see, there is a drop down here where it says all project types. So whatever the categories which I have explaining with throughout this series are mostly listed on this particular drop down itself. So let's time in time switch to Visual Studio and try to understand. Let's switch back to our slide. So the first category is desktop based application or Windows based application. This kind of template or category you will choose when you get a requirement to develop a Windows specific application. So you might have noticed, for example, Teams, Microsoft Teams, which is mostly used application, right? It has its own web version also and Windows-based version also. Similarly for Mac also, it has its own version, right? So why people develop all in all the platforms, right? So one of the main common thing is, for example, if you develop any OS-specific application, you will get more functionalities. The OS native APIs will be exposed. For example, when you are using a Teams, if you want to unlock it through your fingerprint, if you're using a web version, it will be not possible because the accessing of the fingerprint via website or web browser is not allowed. So when you develop a specific OS specific application, then you'll get exposed to all the native client APIs which they offer, and you can consume them and you make your application more useful to the user. So under this desktop application, I have listed mainly two application templates, that is WinForms and WPF. So both are used to develop a Windows based application. The main difference between WinForms and WPF is WPF offers more flexible UI, and whereas WinForms also offer, but when compared to WinForms, WPF are like more flexible. You'll get more options when you are developing a Windows based application going via this particular template. So these templates are, as I said, it is mainly for Windows based application development. And the template name, if you go to Visual Studio and search Windows Forms or WPF app, you will be getting these templates listed. So let me switch to Visual Studio and try to show you that. So on this drop down, what I'll do is I'll select desktop. And as you can see, on under the desktop option, you will be getting listed all this kind of applications. The most commonly used are WinForms and WPF, as I said, those two. So these are used when you're trying to develop a Windows-based application. Let's switch to presentation and continue the next category. The next category of applications are console applications. Console applications are mainly used when you want to execute a command line application for automated scripts functionality. Like you have a small task which you wanted to execute in an automated way. So you want what we will do is once the console application developed, it will be scheduled and this application will be invoked on a scheduled manner, like every day once or every hourly once, minutely once, based on our requirement. This application will be invoked and whatever the commands which are written within this application will be executed and it will try to achieve the same task. So let's switch back to Visual Studio and see where you can notice this one. So under this drop down, so if you see under console application, these are the two templates. One is for .NET Core, another is for .NET Framework. So let's again switch back to our presentation and continue the next category, web applications. So web applications are most famous and most popularly used kind of applications. Why? Because in this kind of particular application type, you no need to install any applications within your systems, right? Within your device, you need not to install any apps. You need not to go and perform the complete installation process. Just you need to have a browser and a URL through which you can access your particular application of interest. Just with that, you will be able to perform all your operations. So that's why they're like most vastly used kind of applications category. So under this web application category, Visual Studio offers multiple varieties of templates. I've tried to list on most commonly used three templates here. That is ASP.NET Web Application, Blazor Applications, and API development with ASP.NET Core. So let's switch back to Visual Studio and try to see this one. So if you click on this drop down, here if you scroll to the complete down, you have both web and web API. And on the top, you have something called API. If you select this, again, you'll get the same values, it's the same templates itself. So, but they have not created all this combined as one category. So as you can see, if I select just API or web API, you're getting both same. And let me select web. And these are the project types they offer, right? So what is the difference between this web application and web API is web application is the complete UI based application where you will have both the user interface and your complete business logic, which is carried out. So user performs some actions on the UI. You might click something, you might try to do something. Post based on that actions, you will try to call your respective functionality and try to achieve. So these are mostly suitable for e-commerce, content management systems, and more. Whereas this API is a user interface less applications. So you just have exposed some APIs. Someone will call this API via might be again through a user interface or might be through some API consumers like Postman or Feedless. From there, just you have to pass the required parameters to this API and it will perform the operation. So ideal for microservice architectures and external integrations. So we'll expose this APIs whenever you want to expose your systems to third parties. You will just expose this APIs. A third party application which is trying to integrate your system, they will consume your services just by making call of this API exposed endpoint. So this is the third category in our system, in our list. So as you can see, Blazor web app. And what is the difference between Blazor MVC? If required, we can have a complete detailed session on that, and which is like more useful, which serves more purpose, what is the main difference, that also we can list it down in the next later upcoming video series. So let's move to the next category of applications, that is database applications. So as I was mentioning in the initial, so what happens is initially how the people will do a database deployment is they will create a structured folder manner, and there they'll start keeping scripts which are required to create a tables, might be create a store procedure, might be or alter some data, alter some tables or store procedure, and also to insert some C data. This all also can be achieved by using a template which is proven template available within our .NET. So this also offers you a pipeline deployment which is more efficient than the way traditional way keeping a structured file and developing your own console application to execute all those, right? So you have to just come here and search for database. So let me just remove this filter first. Yeah, but still it got listed here. So this is most commonly used application template which serves the purpose. So when you want to create your database and maintain your database migrations, everything, you can just come here and select this template and start your development. So let's again switch back to our presentation and move to the next format, that is SQL Server Integration Services applications. So these are mainly used as also I mentioned in the earlier, like when your task is just to read some data, might be from the file or might be from particular API or as a particular XML files or any type of files, then this is the template which you have to do. So these are mainly for ETL process, that is extract, transform, and load process. And mainly in the data integration aspects, we'll use this SSIS projects. So it offers readily available templates. Like for example, you want to read some files, it is not like ready code is available in a normal console based application or web application. You have to install certain packages, might be some nugget packages, and then you have to write a code to read those headers. And after reading the headers, you need to write a code to loop through those all the rows and then start saving it to your database, right? Or might be to your another file system. But here it comes with readily available code for this. Just you have to do a drag and drop. It will give all those functionality which you have to write manually, right, readily just by dragging and dropping those tools or tool templates which are available within this project. So how you can get this template? Just come here and search for SSIS. So here I have not installed this one. So as I said, you have to click on this and you can install whichever the template version you need. So as you can see, when you search for SSIS, these are the templates which are available, and these are mainly used for ETL based activities in the data integration projects, right? Again, within this, you have a classic version and Azure enabled version. So with the Azure enabled version, you'll be getting most of the functionality which Azure Data Factory is offering. So the past version of this ETL applications are Azure Data Factory. So it offers again a most robust options for you to develop a past version of the same. So but to give a mid kind of thing, what they have done is they have enabled Azure options here, but you will be not getting all the options which are there in the Azure Data Factory. You will be getting most of the option which you can access via this enabled template. Let's switch back to our presentation and go through all the remaining application categories in next part.